Welcome back to Mystery Caught on Camera. Today's video is a collection of footage recorded across Mexico, a land where the line between ancient folklore and modern reality is terrifyingly thin. From a living head found trapped inside a bathroom wall in Tijuana, to a creature that defies biology captured by villagers in Veracruz, to silent entities watching from industrial towers in the dead of night. Every case has a location. Every case has a witness. But none of them have a logical explanation that actually makes sense. And you need to watch until the very end. Because on a lonely highway in Baja California, a police dashcam recorded something that simply shouldn't exist. A figure that is half human, half animal, screaming in panic as officers try to restrain it. Is it a genetic experiment or a myth come to life? Watch until the last second and decide the answer for yourself. Living head found inside bathroom wall in Tijuana. The bathroom is supposed to be a sanctuary. It is the one place where we lock the door to be completely alone, vulnerable, and safe. But for a resident in Mexico, that privacy was violated in the most traumatic way possible. The footage begins with a woman standing at the threshold of her bathroom, her hands shaking violently. She isn't filming a leak or a broken tile. She is screaming, "Get the hell out of my house," at the corner of the room. At first, the scene looks empty. Then she pulls back the shower curtain and the nightmare is revealed. Protruding from a jagged dark hole in the tiled wall is a living head. There is no body visible, just a neck disappearing into the concrete void. The skin appears burnt and diseased, covered in lesions, but the eyes are wide manic and terrifyingly alert. It is grinning, with a set of jagged teeth frozen in a permanent expression of mockery, while the woman continues to scream. It doesn't speak, it doesn't blink, it just watches. Is this a squatter living in the crawlspace wearing a high-quality mask? Or is it something that has been rotting inside the walls for years, waiting for the right moment to poke its head out? Villagers capture strange bird-human hybrid in Veracruz. In the remote, sun-baked hills of Veracruz, Mexico, local folklore is filled with stories of nahuales, witches, capable of shapeshifting into animals. Usually, these are just cautionary tales. But this footage suggests the legends have physical weight. In a dusty village square, a group of men has captured something that defies all biological classification. At first glance, it appears they are restraining a large plucked ostrich or a diseased vulture. It stands on long, thin legs that end in sharp, reptilian talons. However, as the camera moves closer, the anatomy becomes sickeningly wrong. The creature does not have a beak. It possesses a fully formed human head. The face has pale, taut skin, a distinct nose, and a mouth frozen in a rictus of exhaustion. Its eyes are dark, set deep into a skull that looks undeniably human. The men hold its wings stretched out with zero hesitation, treating it not like a scientific discovery to be studied, but like a criminal they have finally caught. Is this a shapeshifter trapped mid-transformation, or a genetic mistake that escaped into the wild? The most disturbing detail isn't the creature itself, but the reaction of the crowd. They don't look terrified. They look like they have handled this before. Creature interrupts family memorial in Oaxaca. The ritual was meant to be a peaceful farewell. In a humble home in rural Oaxaca, Mexico, 3 elderly women sit in prayer before a shrine adorned with marigolds and a portrait of a deceased loved one. The atmosphere is heavy with grief and the soft glow of candlelight. But while their eyes are closed in reverence, the darkness outside the window is wide awake. At first, it looks like a trick of the light, a shadow shifting behind the iron security bars. But then a face presses against the opening. It is covered in dark matted hair resembling a large canine, yet it stands upright on 2 legs, peering down into the room. The horror peaks when the entity decides it is done watching. With terrifying speed, a pale, elongated limb shoots through the bars and swipes at the woman sitting closest to the window. It is not a paw. It is a hand with long, spindly fingers that look distressingly human. The woman screams, recoiling in pure, unfiltered terror as the creature retracts and vanishes into the night. Skeptics argue this is a cruel prank involving a puppet. But in a region deep in Nahual legends, one question remains. Did the family invite a spirit and only to have something else answer the call? The frogman spotted on roof in Jalisco. Most creatures seek shelter during a storm. But in the rainy streets of Guadalajara, Jalisco, the downpour brought out something that thrives in the wet. Filmed by residents investigating strange noises on their roof, the beam of a flashlight reveals a pale, glistening entity perched on the corrugated metal. This is not a stray dog or a thief. It is a biological anomaly often referred to as the frogman. The creature possesses a sickeningly human anatomy mixed with amphibian traits. Its skin is hairless pale yellow and looks slimy under the artificial light. But look at the proportions. The arms are disproportionately long, ending in massive, webbed hands that grip the roof edge with unnatural strength. It crouches in a deep, squat knees, bent at sharp angles, resembling a gargoyle brought to life. When it notices the people below, it doesn't flee immediately. Instead, it turns its head with a jerky twitching motion, opening a wide, lipless mouth as if hissing in aggression. The way it shifts its weight suggests heavy, dense muscle beneath that slick skin. Is this a mutated species living in the city's drainage system, or an escaped experiment from a clandestine lab? Whatever it is, it proves that when the rain starts falling, you should never look up at the rooftops. Ghostly figure riding behind motorcyclist in Sinaloa. Driving at night on the highways of Los Mochis, Sinaloa, is dangerous enough due to crime, but for a passenger looking out the window of a passing bus, the true danger wasn't on the road, it was on the bike next to them. The footage captures a man cruising on his motorcycle, casually checking his phone, completely relaxed. He clearly thinks he is alone. He is wrong. Sitting directly behind him, clutching his waist, is a figure that shouldn't be there. It features long matted black hair covering its entire face, resembling the classic Onryo archetype. It wears a loose pale shirt that flutters in the wind, yet the figure sits with an unnatural, rigid stillness. Look closely at the hands. They are pale, almost gray, gripping the rider's jacket with possessive tightness. The rider shows absolutely no sign of noticing the extra weight or the cold touch on his hips. He never looks back. This implies two terrifying possibilities. Either the entity is weightless, a spectral hitchhiker feeding off his life force, or he knows it is there and he is simply too terrified to stop the bike. As the bus pulls away, the passenger is left with a sinking realization that man is not driving home. He is being driven. Strange creature jumping across rooftops in Chiapas. Most people look out their windows to enjoy the view. But in the misty hills of San Cristobal de las Casas, Chiapas, an anonymous resident looked out from their attic and saw something that made them pull the curtains shut. Expecting to catch a burglar, they instead recorded a display of agility that defies human limits. Bounding across the terracotta tiles is a dark, shadowy figure. It does not run upright like a man. It moves on all fours using abnormally long arms to propel itself forward with the mechanics of a primate. Look closely at the posture in this frame. The spine is severely curved, the head is tucked low, and the limbs are splayed out in a wide, spider-like stance. It clears the wide gaps between the buildings with a terrifying, weightless ease, landing silently before instantly coiling its muscles for the next jump. A human parkour expert would hesitate, calculate the distance, or stumble on the loose tiles. This thing flows like liquid shadow. As the figure disappears over the ridge, the witness pulls back, realizing a chilling truth. Whatever this is, it can enter a second-story window just as easily as a front door. Skeletal dog captured on trail camera in Coahuila. Trail cameras in the dense forests of Sierra de Arteaga, Coahuila, are usually set up to track jaguars or black bears. But this footage, time-stamped just after midnight, captured a biological impossibility that has left local rangers baffled. Walking casually through the dry brush is a canine figure, but it appears to be entirely devoid of flesh. At first glance, it looks like a dog wearing a Halloween costume, but the anatomy is disturbingly precise. The creature's body displays a stark white rib cage that appears hollow with no visible organs or muscle mass underneath. The spine is clearly defined, connecting to a pelvis that moves with a fluid, natural rhythm. Most unsettling is the head, a stark white skull with deep dark voids for eye sockets, yet it retains perky pointed ears that swivel as if listening to the environment. Skeptics immediately argue that this is a living dog painted with glow-in-the-dark markings for a prank. However, look at the waist. It is impossibly thin, looking more like empty space than a painted stomach. If this is a prank, it is an elaborate one, performed in the middle of nowhere. If it is real, then we are witnessing a pile of bones that refuses to stay buried. The beaked man-beast captured in Catemaco. In the witchcraft capital of Catemaco, Veracruz, legends usually stay in the shadows. But in this chaotic clip, the legend has been dragged out into the harsh daylight. A crowd of locals, led by a ranger in a high-visibility vest, is seen restraining a creature that looks like a reject from a twisted fairy tale. They have it on a rope, treating it with the caution reserved for a rabid animal. The creature walks on 4 legs covered in thick, matted gray fur that obscures its body shape. But the true horror is its head. It possesses a face that is disturbingly human, gray, leathery skin, a furrowed brow, and deep-set eyes that stare blankly ahead. Yet, protruding from where the nose and mouth should be, is a large, smooth yellow beak, looking almost surgically grafted onto the skull. Long, stringy gray hair hangs from its head, adding to the uncanny humanoid appearance. It doesn't struggle. It walks with a defeated, sluggish rhythm. Skeptics scream, "Costume," pointing to the stiffness of the beak. But if it is a fake, why are the authorities involved? And why does the crowd look less entertained and more deeply unsettled? This brings us back to the old warnings about the Nahual sorcerers who transform into animals. Perhaps this one simply forgot how to turn back. The shapeshifter of Veracruz. In the folklore of Veracruz, Mexico, the Nahual is a sorcerer who can shed his human form to become a beast. This viral clip uploaded by the channel Dark Dimensions claims to capture that forbidden ritual in real time. Under the sickly yellow glow of streetlights, a humanoid figure hunches over on the cobblestones. It doesn't just drop to the ground. Its anatomy seems to liquefy and rearrange itself. In a matter of seconds, the limbs shorten the spine arches, and the mass of a man seamlessly compresses into the shape of a large canine. The transition is terrifyingly smooth, perhaps too smooth. This is where the debate begins. Skeptics point out that the transformation lacks the visceral, bone-breaking violence one would expect from biology. Instead, the figure morphs with the dreamlike, unstable fluidity characteristic of AI video generation. The pixels seem to blend rather than the flesh tearing. Is this a digital fabrication designed to exploit local superstition, or did the camera sensor simply fail to process a change that human eyes were never meant to witness? Regardless of the answer, the image of a man melting into a dog is not something you can easily forget. Man captures alleged real-life gnome in birdcage in Durango. We leave the digital shadows of the shapeshifter for the harsh, unforgiving sunlight of Durango, Mexico. Here, there are no dark corners to hide in, yet what this man is holding defies explanation. He lifts a rusty bird cage, not to show off a pet, but to display what he claims is a captured duende, a real-life goblin. The figure inside is small humanoid with pale wax-like skin and wispy unkempt hair. It grips the cage floor with hands that look distressingly human, its deep-set eyes staring blankly through the wires. But this is where the unease sets in. The creature's movement, or lack of it, feels wrong. The skin texture appears too smooth, almost plastic, and the lighting on its face doesn't quite match the sharp shadows cast by the cage bars. Is this a complex taxidermy hoax? Or are we looking at another high-fidelity AI overlay tracking the cage in real time? The man looks proud, convinced he has trapped a monster. But for the viewers, the scary part isn't the creature itself. It's the fact that we can no longer trust our own eyes to tell the difference between a monster and a machine. Rescue helicopter finds faceless girl on industrial silo in Monterrey. In the sprawling industrial parks of Monterrey, Nuevo Leon, the noise of machinery usually drowns out everything else. But late one night, a security guard reported a sound that cut through the hum of the factory, the relentless, agonizing crying of a child coming from the top of an abandoned grain silo. A police helicopter was dispatched expecting a rescue mission. Instead, they recorded a scene that defies explanation. The thermal camera and spotlight sweep the structure until they lock onto a target, a small figure in a pristine white dress standing on the highest platform. She is standing dangerously close to the edge, completely alone in the darkness. But here is where the rescue turns into a horror story. The helicopter's spotlight generates millions of lumens, enough to blind a person temporarily. A normal child would cover their eyes, wave for help, or cower in fear. This girl does not flinch. She stands perfectly still like a statue cemented to the walkway. As the camera zooms in to assess her condition, the pilot realizes why she isn't reacting. The figure appears to have no facial features, just a smooth blank surface where eyes and a mouth should be. She isn't waiting to be rescued. She is waiting for something else. And when the helicopter circled back for a second look, the platform was empty. Tiny gray humanoid filmed in Yucatan forest. A flashlight beam sweeps across the dry vegetation in Mérida, Yucatan, searching for a path. Instead, it illuminates a pair of eyes that are far too large to belong to any known animal. Crouching in the dirt is a tiny gray figure standing no taller than a toddler, but possessing the anatomy of a biological anomaly. The creature is completely hairless, with a disproportionately large head and pale skin that reflects the harsh light. Locals might whisper names like Alux, the Mayan forest spirits, but the footage suggests something far more digital than spiritual. Watch closely when it decides to flee. The entity does not scramble away with the frantic energy of a frightened animal. Instead, it turns with a stiff mechanical pivot. The legs don't push off the ground. They seem to glide and blur unnaturally, lacking weight and friction. This rigid video game-like movement is the hallmark of AI generation, or a 3D model composited into the scene. Yet, despite the technical flaws, the image of that small gray face staring out from the darkness is enough to make anyone hesitate before entering the woods again. Massive Loch Ness creature sighted from bridge in Tabasco. View turned into evidence of a cryptid. As the motorcyclist approached the bridge, he noticed a strange figure in the water below. It was a large, serpentine creature with a long, sinuous body and a pair of large, webbed feet. The motorcyclist was startled, but he managed to keep his cool and continue on his way. As he crossed the bridge, he could see the creature swimming in the water, its movements graceful and fluid. He wondered if he had seen a cryptid before, but he couldn't be sure. As he continued on his way, he felt a sense of awe and wonder at the beauty of the natural world. He knew that he would never forget the sight of the cryptid in the Grijalva River view turned into evidence of a cryptid. As the camera pans over the yellow railing, it captures a massive jet-black shape breaking the surface of the murky brown water. This is not a log drifting with the current, nor is it a trick of the shadows. The object is propelling itself against the flow. Zooming in reveals a silhouette that looks disturbingly prehistoric. It features what appears to be a long, thick neck or a massive fin rising high above the waterline. The scale is immense compared to the surrounding vegetation. Viewers immediately labeled it the Mexican Loch Ness Monster, arguing that no known local species, not a crocodile, not a manatee, fits this shape or size. Is it a giant serpent from Aztec legend returning to the surface, or is it an ancient survivor navigating the modern waterways? The writer didn't stop to find out, and frankly, neither would you. Horned creature peeking over wall in Guanajuato. In the narrow winding alleyways of Guanajuato, Mexico, a city famous for its subterranean tunnels and ghost stories. But this resident didn't need to go underground to find a monster. It came to him. Hearing scratching sounds on his perimeter wall late at night, he grabbed his phone and recorded what might be the clearest footage of a demon we have ever seen. Peering over the concrete ledge is a creature that seems to be a biological patchwork of nightmares. It is covered in dark, thick fur, but the face is hairless and disturbingly expressive. It features a flat, human-like nose and a mouth that seems to be sneering. But the most terrifying detail sits atop its head, two sharp, distinct horns. It doesn't look like a mask. The skin around the horns appears organic and seamless. Look at the hand gripping the wall. It has long, dark fingers ending in curved claws holding its weight with ease. The entity stares directly into the camera, not with the flight instinct of an animal, but with the arrogance of something that knows it is feared. Is this a sophisticated animatronic prank? Or have the legends of the chupacabra evolved into something far more demonic? We like to believe that our homes are safe and that monsters only exist in movies. But today's footage from Mexico suggests otherwise. Whether it's a face inside a bathroom wall or a creature running on a highway, these clips prove one thing: the world is much stranger than we think. Maybe these are just tricks. Maybe they are misunderstandings. But the scary part isn't just watching them. It's realizing that if the cameras hadn't been rolling, no one would have believed it happened. It makes you wonder, what else is out there right now, waiting in the dark that hasn't been filmed yet? Which clip actually scared you the most? The head in the wall, or the centaur on the road? Tell me in the comments. And if you want to see more things that shouldn't exist, subscribe to the channel. I'll be waiting.